The sky is a deep and quiet blue. Not quite night, not quite the end of day. Just that perfect in between. When everything slows, a single breeze passes through an open window, brushing against a thin curtain that sways like it's breathing. The world outside is fading into stillness, and the world inside is growing dim, like a lantern slowly being turned down. You are safe here. You don't need to be anywhere else. The only thing ahead is quiet. The only thing waiting is sleep. Somewhere far away, in a time you cannot touch, a fire glows beneath the stars. Not the kind of fire that roars or climbs. Just a steady warmth at the center of a wide, endless plain. All around it, the grass is tall and moves like water. The wind carries no voices, only the low rustle of earth breathing, and perhaps, now and then, the soft sound of hooves in the distance. The Mongol steppe stretches far beyond what the eye can see. There are no walls, no cities, just the land, and the sky, and the people who move with both. They are not hurrying, not racing. Their days follow the wind, and their nights begin with silence. Before it was ever called an empire, before there were stories of conquests and kings, there was only this, quiet, a tent of felt, a fire that never goes out, and a sky full of stars that knew every name before it was spoken aloud. We will not rush. There is no need to understand everything all at once. This is a slow story, one that drifts rather than arrives. A story not of wars or victories, but of long rides across the plains, of hands tightening cloth against wind, of quiet eyes watching the horizon. Tonight, you are not here. Tonight, you are there, where the land never ends and time forgets to move. Let your breath slow, let the thoughts scatter. There is a path ahead, soft and quiet, and it begins under a sky full of stars. Let us follow it, gently, into the Mongol world. The morning on the steppe comes not with noise, but with light, pale and silver at first, brushing gently across the tops of grass, then warming into gold as it stretches from horizon to horizon. There are no walls to block it, no buildings to shade it. The light pours over everything, quiet and endless. The wind never truly stops here. Even at dawn, it curls low along the earth, lifting dust and bending the grasses, humming softly against the thin leather of a nearby saddle. Horses shift their weight, a wooden yoke creaks faintly. From within the round shadow of a felt tent, someone stirs, but there is no alarm, no rush. Life begins slowly. The Mongol world is not made of cities or towers. It is made of motion, of circles, of rhythm. People live in circular homes with circular doors, facing the rising sun. They move with the seasons, never staying in one place for too long, but never moving without care. Their world breathes with them, not as something to conquer, but as something to follow. The air is dry but not harsh. It tastes of earth and distance. There is the smell of smoke from dung fires, of boiled milk, of fur worn smooth by years of use. The sounds are few and low, the bleating of sheep, the occasional bark of a dog, a mother humming softly as she stirs a pot of millet, steam rising in slow spirals into the early light. There is a language in these silences, a way of speaking without saying anything, a glance between riders, a hand laid gently on the neck of a horse, the click of a tongue, guiding without force. Everything in this place is old, not in years, but in wisdom. It is not a world of pages and ink, but of memory and breath. Children run barefoot through the grass. Their laughter is soft, never loud enough to startle the animals. They know how to move like the wind, light and low, already learning the way of the land. The elders sit by the fire, mending, telling slow stories that do not end. Stories about the stars, about the spirits in the rocks and the wind, about ancestors who rode before and still ride now. Unseen, far in the distance, beyond the curve of the earth, there is movement, a caravan perhaps, or a group of riders returning from the high pastures. No one rushes to greet them. There is no need. They will arrive when they arrive. The land teaches patience, and the people have listened. There are no roads here, only paths worn by time, barely visible, like soft threads across the plains. Yet the people know them. They follow the wind, the stars, the tilt of the grass. They move not just to survive, but because movement is life. And yet, beneath this soft rhythm, something is beginning, a quiet shift, not a storm, but a change in the air. A child is growing, unnoticed by most. A boy with eyes like dark water and a silence that watches everything. But that is not our concern for now. He is only one among many. Just another life in the endless breathing plain. For now, we stay with the morning. The soft light, the slow meal, the hush of a people who understand that the world does not need to be hurried. That life can be wide and still, like the steppe itself. His name is Batar. The name means hero, but no one says it with grandeur. It is spoken softly, like all things here, a simple name for a simple man, born into the fold of felt walls and sky-colored dreams. He is neither old nor young, somewhere between. His face carries the sun in its lines, but his shoulders are still strong. Each day, he wakes not to the sound of clocks, but to the way light filters through the seams of the jeer, casting warm shadows on the curved wooden frame above his head. He lies there for a while, eyes open, not thinking, just breathing. Outside, the wind brushes the canvas with a soft sigh, like a lullaby in reverse. His first movement is always the same. He folds the sleeping mat with care. He does not rush. Then he stokes the fire that sleeps at the center of the home, coaxing it back to life. The embers are never completely gone, only waiting. He adds a twist of dry dung, the smell rising in faint sweetness, earthy and thin. It catches, and soon the soft crackle fills the silence. His wife, Alexandria, is already awake. She moves like a whisper, hands knowing every step. She ties her hair back with a simple cloth and begins to heat water for tea. Their daughter still sleeps, small and curved like a question, wrapped in wool. The air inside is warm now, gentle, safe. Outside, the morning stretches. The goats bleat softly. The horses wait near the tether line, breath rising in little clouds. Batar steps out into the light, tying the flap closed behind him. The sky above is so open it almost feels like it could pull you upward, if you let it. He walks slowly toward the herd, letting the ground meet his feet without force. He carries a rope, not with tension, but loosely, like an old friend. Each animal knows him. He speaks to them not with words, but with sounds, low and even. They respond in kind, following his rhythm. They move because he moves. By mid-morning, he's at the river, not a wide one, just a shallow thread that winds between the hills. The water is cold, clear, slow. He kneels and lets it run over his hands, then over his face. He drinks in small sips, never wasting, and wipes his beard dry with a motion as old as the hills around him. He cuts small branches from a willow nearby. These will be for fixing the frame of the cart. Nothing is wasted here. Every gesture means something. Every tool has a memory. Later, he returns home with the branches balanced on his back. His daughter is awake now. She runs to meet him, wrapping her arms around his legs. He lifts her without speaking, presses his forehead gently to hers. Her laughter is quiet but clear, like a bell heard across a valley. Together, they sit near the fire. The midday meal is millet with dried curds and tea so strong it smells like smoke. They eat without ceremony, talking little, just being. In the afternoon, he sits outside, weaving strips of leather for repairs. His fingers are rough but gentle. The sun warms the back of his neck. He works in silence, stopping now and then to watch the clouds. They move slowly, like ships across the sea. Neighbors pass sometimes, a cousin on horseback, a friend herding yaks. Each one greets him with a nod, a few words, and keeps moving. There is no need for long conversation. The land speaks enough. As evening nears, he helps gather the animals again. Alexandria sings quietly while milking the mare. The foal watches with curious eyes. The smoke rises once more from the chimney hole in the roof, curling into the cooling air. Inside, the light is low. The day folds in upon itself. They eat again, not much, just enough. The fire flickers, the wind hums against the walls, and Batar sits with his daughter in his lap, telling a story in a voice like worn leather, smooth and deep. Not a story of kings or battles, but of a fox who fooled the moon. When she sleeps, he lays her gently down, covering her with a blanket woven by his mother. He steps outside one last time, looking up at the stars. They are endless, they always have been. He breathes in once more, slowly, and lets the air fill every part of him. Then he returns to the quiet of the jeer, to the warmth of the fire, to sleep without fear. Another day has passed on the steppe. A simple day, a soft one, and tomorrow will come just the same. The sun is still low when Batar fastens the last strap across the small cart. Its wooden wheels creak softly as he tests them, running his fingers over each joint, making sure the cords are tied just right. Nothing too tight, nothing too loose, everything balanced. Today is not a journey of urgency. There is no great need, no destination that cannot wait, but the dried curds must be traded, and the felt they have made from the spring wool has been rolled and bundled. He will ride to a nearby camp, a few valleys away, perhaps see his uncle, perhaps bring back salt. He lifts his daughter into the cart. She is wrapped in a sheepskin coat, eyes still heavy from waking. Sarangerel hands him a pouch of roasted barley and a flask of tea wrapped in cloth to keep it warm. He nods. No words are needed. The horse steps forward, steady and calm. The cart follows. The creaking of the wheels joins the wind, which moves just enough to rustle the edges of the grass. The morning is cool, but not cold. The light touches the earth in long lines, softening everything it meets. The steppe opens ahead like a slow breath. The grass sways in waves. There are no signs, no markers, and yet Batar knows where he is. He follows the lay of the land, the shape of the hills, the shadows they cast. In the distance, birds wheel quietly in the sky, calling out only now and then, as if not to disturb the stillness. The rhythm of travel is gentle. The horse moves evenly, hooves pressing soft prints into the dirt. His daughter leans against a rolled-up coat, watching the sky. Sometimes she sings to herself, small half-formed songs with no real tune. Sometimes she sleeps. Batar hums too, low and slow. He does not think of it. The tune comes without asking, rising from the back of his throat like something remembered from long ago. They pass a herd of sheep watched over by a boy on a pony. He raises a hand. Batar raises his in return. The pony whinnies softly. The sheep glance up, then go back to their grazing. Later, they pause beneath a small rise where wild onions grow. The wind here smells sharp and green. Batar pulls a few from the earth, brushing away the soil, tucking them into the pouch. His daughter runs her fingers through the tall grass, giggling as a butterfly lifts and dances away. They eat slowly, seated on a blanket spread across the ground. The tea is warm, slightly bitter, and it tastes like the fire they made it on. The barley is dry but filling. No one speaks much. The quiet is not empty. It is full. The journey continues, hour by hour, and the land changes only in small ways. The grass grows taller, then shorter. A stream appears, shallow and clear, where they stop to let the horse drink. Batar watches a frog leap from one bank to the other. His daughter follows it with her eyes, not moving, not speaking, just watching. As the afternoon stretches on, the wind picks up, clouds gather, not dark, not threatening, but thick enough to soften the sun. Shadows lengthen, the light turns to silver. They are near now. A column of smoke in the distance tells them a camp is ahead. The last part of the journey is quietest of all. The horse knows the way. The cart moves gently, and when the camp comes into full view, with its clustered tents and grazing animals and children running barefoot, there is no shout, no announcement, just arrival. An uncle comes out to greet them, arms wide, face lined like a riverbed. There is an embrace, a laugh, a long look into the eyes. Then the cart is unhitched, the goods laid out, the horse led to water. Nothing hurried, nothing forgotten. As evening begins to unfold, a fire is lit, a bowl of broth is passed. Stories are shared, spoken slowly, some in words, some only in glances. The girl falls asleep against her father's arm, her head rising and falling with each breath he takes. And as the stars begin to wake above them, the steppe wraps around everything like a blanket. The journey has ended, not with arrival, but with rest. The wind has softened again. It moves low across the steppe, no longer carrying the bright dryness of afternoon, but something gentler, cooler, almost tender. The grass does not sway now but leans, like it's listening. The sky turns slowly, melting from pale silver to the faintest blue-gray, and then into that familiar softness that comes before the stars. Batar sits by the fire, legs folded beneath him. The bowl in his hands is warm, and the broth within it is thin but rich, made from bones and herbs that have names older than the stories they tell. He does not speak. The fire speaks for him. Its little cracks and breaths fill the space. His daughter is curled beside him, wrapped in the coat she wore on the cart. She is not asleep yet. Her eyes open and close in slow rhythm, following nothing, just breathing, just being. Around them, the camp settles. The herders return, their silhouettes stretched long by the last light. The animals gather closer, finding their places for the night. From one tent, a quiet tune floats outward, played on a two-stringed horsehead fiddle. It does not rise, it does not fall, it drifts, like mist. The uncle brings a small cloth bundle, salt wrapped in wool, a little leather pouch of dried herbs, and a new rope, hand-braided, stiff with promise. They exchange these things without ceremony. There are no thanks spoken, but the silence between them is full of gratitude. The fire shrinks now, little by little. The smoke no longer rises high but curls low, staying close to the earth. Batar pulls the blanket around his daughter's shoulders and lifts her carefully. She stirs but does not wake, resting her head against his chest, trusting the rhythm of his steps. The gyre is smaller than their own, but warm. Inside, it smells of ash and wool and milk, a place that has seen many nights like this, many fires, many stories. He lays her down on a folded mat near the center, her hands still closed as if holding a dream. He sits beside her. He removes his boots slowly, places them near the door. The wind moves the flap gently. The stars begin to gather outside. Sarangerel is not here, but he can feel her in the way his daughter breathes, in the quiet space around them. She is part of everything now, even the silence. He lies down and lets his body sink into the soft layers of wool and cloth. The warmth of the fire reaches him faintly. The wind hums outside, but it does not intrude. It's the kind of night that holds itself gently, that asks nothing. Time stretches out, it stops needing to be measured. The stars begin their quiet watch. The horse outside shifts once, then is still. The coals in the fire glow like tiny eyes half closed, watching the end of the day with no need for words. The last thought Batar has is not a thought at all, just a feeling, of weight leaving the body, of being held by something larger than sleep. The wind does not stop. It never truly stops, but now, it moves more slowly, lower, as if it, too, is tired. It circles the round walls of the gyre and presses against the roof like a hand that wants only to comfort, not disturb. The coals in the hearth are no longer red, but they still breathe, faint and warm beneath their ash. Their glow is a whisper, rising and falling, in rhythm with sleep. Outside, the night has become wide. The stars are many, and they do not blink. They simply are, a silver brushstroke of sky, painted from one edge of the world to the other, without sound, without beginning. Inside, everything is still. Batar's breath is slow. His daughter's small hand rests near his chest. Their breaths rise and fall like gentle waves. The wool beneath them is soft. The earth beneath the wool is firm. The world does not move fast here. It moves like a river with no current, just the hush of motion too slow to feel. A sound drifts through the wall, a horse shaking its mane, a bird turning once in its sleep. Nothing sharp, nothing sudden. Even the animals know now is not the time for waking. The air is full of warmth. Though the fire has faded, it lingers in the cloth, in the wool, in the bones of the tent. It holds the bodies that lie curled beneath it, sheltering them in layers of memory and rest. Somewhere beyond the edge of hearing, another gyre glows with the last light of its own fire. Another family breathes in sleep. Another father dreams without knowing he dreams. The steppe is not silent, but its sound is the kind that soothes, not stirs. Batar's dream is not a story. It is not sharp or clear. It is mist, light, grass touching his fingers. It is hooves in snow, the brush of wind along a ridge, a hand in his, a sky that does not end. He does not reach for the dream. He floats in it. He lets it carry him. There is no need to shape it, no need to hold it. Like the land he lives on, it stretches in all directions, wide and slow and deep. The breath of the world is long now. One breath, then another. The stars remain, the wind remains, the earth remains, and he sleeps, and the land sleeps, and you sleep too, slowly, softly, as if the whole steppe has folded around you, and the sky has lowered its light just for you. No need to return, no need to wake, only this, only now, breath, and stillness, and sleep.